about 7, 8 months now. And but what's been good about it, trading and the stock market has always been in my blood. It's always been a passion of mine. And so like anything else, I've just utilized this time at home while things are quiet with the business to really throw myself into trading and to really try and become as best a trader as I possibly can, over this last, 8 months or so. And so that's pretty much what I've been up to.
Well, a lot of people call me coach, and one of my recommendations is find a good community.
Yes.
Sounds like you did that because, Danny, you and I only have two eyes. But if you,
Yes.
and also surround yourself with traders better than yourself.
Absolutely.
And you kind of rise to their level. So I'm looking at your setup now. Are those turquoise lines, VWAP lines? What kind of lines are
Yes.
they?
Yes. So
Okay.
I use TrendSpider. I've been using TrendSpider since November of last year.
Okay,
And
I
so
know Jake.
obviously the
Yeah.
anchored VWAP is what I am using from Brian Shannon of Alpha Trends. And
Okay.
what's great about with
I
TrendSpider
am
is
too.
they have these automated anchored VWAPs. So instead of having to manually lock in these anchored VWAPs, I can just go to my highest high, my year to date, my gaps, my lowest low, and it automatically does it for me. So, but in this respect, what I'm doing here is, taking anchored VWAPs from capitulation points to potentially get bounce levels for where SPY might be pulling into. So I'm eyeing this 319 to 323 level here. We've had
Okay.
our previous low here at 319, and then we have our anchored VWAP from this low right here. So I just really use, I don't trade SPY per se. I will use SPY puts as a hedge against positions, but I'm really looking just to see, what is SPY going to do relative to the rest of the market, and that's basically how I trade.
Okay. And we're looking at a daily. So
Correct.
when we're approaching that VWAP line that you have defined at 322, do you drill down to lower TFs to see
Yep.
if you're getting confirmation and maybe even in uh, Jeff anchored VWAPs, Jeff Wetzel. Okay, so yeah, you drill down and start looking at the potential for what's that bottom line you have on the bottom, that blue line.
Oh, this is just a 14 weighted moving average on
Oh,
volume.
oh, okay. All right, so no momentum indicators at all. And
No, no.
VWAP and it looks like pattern recognition is your
and
style.
volume and volume shelves. As you can
Okay.
see, we are
Oh
coming
yeah.
into a volume shelf right here. I'm
Oh,
anchoring volume
nice.
from the capitulation low here in March.
Hmm.
And I really love these pullback entries to volume shelves of anchored VWAPs
Yeah.
and support and resistance lines. So just to take a quick step back, I'm actually, by trade, I'm more of a swing trader.
Okay.
But because of COVID and how things have sped up, I do day trade and scalp as well. Like I said, I don't really use too many lagging indicators, stochastics, MACD, RSI. I will use them for divergence strategies to try and tops and bottoms. But for the most part, I'm really just looking at price. As Brian Shannon likes to say, only price pays. I really believe in that. And so I'm just looking to see, with pattern recognition, with anchored VWAP, volume shelves, um, I'm really just trying to see where price is going to pull into. And
Yeah.
I prefer, rather than being a breakout trader, I do like pullback entries. And so that's really my style of trading. I like that, in terms of it's a really clearly defined risk
Sounds
rather
like
than a.
Brian Shannon is a big influence on your trading.
Yeah, I
You've
really, I
mentioned him
really
a few
do like
times.
his style of trading, so to speak. And honestly, he was introduced to me via the TrendSpider platform. The
Right.
guys at
Good.
TrendSpider really work with him. They were the first platform, I believe, to get this automated anchored VWAP onto the platform, and now it seems like everybody is following suit. But yeah, I don't, have a mentor, so to speak. And in fact, when you ask me questions about what books I've read, I'm actually not a big reader of books in a sense. I'm more of a visual learner. As a designer, what I
Yeah.
see in front of me is really how I learn. But when it comes to books, I'm a really big proponent of Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas. I think
Okay.
in terms of trading psychology, I think that's probably one of the books that's really helped me fine tune my strategy and fine tune my mental focus in terms of trade. Trying to leave my emotion on the side, my bias to the side, and really just let the charts and technicals guide my trading.
How do you manage risk on your VWAP entries?
Well, what's great about TrendSpider is they have this beautiful, risk management tool. So, if I were, let's say, to take a trade and I'm targeting this top here at, 353, I would always use at a minimum a 4-to-1 risk to reward ratio. When it comes to entry positions, I also use like a 5, 10, 15% entry system where, if everything is beautiful, the stock is trending, the market is trending, the sector is trending, I may use 15% of my trading account to take a position, and then work my way down to where we are today, which is probably even less than 5%, just due to the volatility. What's going on this week with earnings, and then obviously next week having the election coming in. So we've been advising our members, sitting on your hands. Cash is a position as well. You don't need to trade the chop. As you can see, we've been having these pop-ups in the morning, and then it's just flat chop for the rest of the day. So it's not really fun to trade. So if you're
Well, it's fun
not
for
really
me this week.
but for those that are not well versed in the market and don't know how to trade the chop, it's definitely better to sit on your hands and wait for those ideal setups. And there are definitely hidden gems in the market. There are things that are moving relative to the general market.
Yeah,
So
like the VIX.
absolutely,
All
absolutely
right.
popped
So, I
over
mean,
40 yesterday.
yeah, the breakout at 30 was a pretty good signal that you could take the downside a little more seriously than prior to the VIX breakout, in my
Absolutely.
extremely accurate and humble opinion. So, is S&Ps your main instrument for trading, or you have some views of some other things going into the election? I understand, and it makes completely sense. Makes sense that what's important into the election is not the return on capital, but the return of capital.
Right.
So, what kind of things are you looking at market wise to react to the reaction of the election?
So one thing that I do, I look for comparisons to SPY. So for instance, EEM, emerging markets, is breaking out relative to SPY. So I'm looking for these indexes and seeing what is outperforming SPY, what is relative to SPY. So you can see, emerging markets is breaking out of a downtrend versus SPY. What is
Wow.
emerging markets made up? Alibaba, Tencent. So Asian stocks have really been running. So Alibaba is something that I've been watching at 310. We did have a breakout and a pullback. So this is one of my strategies that I use in terms of trying to find relative strength in the market versus SPY. And as you can see, I
Yeah.
have most of my indexes. XLF, I think last week was breaking out. I think it was a little bit of a false breakout. And I will go down all of my different indexes to see where can I find strength in the market. And when I
You know
find that
that
strength,
this
yes.
EEM breakout is a little surprising in the face of dollar strength we've had this week, don't you
Right.
think?
I don't pay too much attention to currency. I'm not a currency trader. So for
Okay.
me, it's a little bit foreign in that respect. But
Yeah.
I know that's kind of your forte. So I would certainly lean on you for that expertise.
Well, a strong dollar because a lot of emerging economies have their debt denominated in dollar. A
Correct.
stronger dollar makes it harder to service, usually pressures emerging markets. But we're getting a breakout with the dollar turning up this week. Actually, the dollar broke out. So
Right.
uh, that to me is a real significant sign of relative strength. When a market can perform with headwinds, you just imagine what it could do with a tailwind, and a weaker dollar would be a tailwind
Right.
for emerging markets. So
Right.
just an observation.
Interesting. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, going back to that strategy and looking to see, what funds and what indexes are performing relative to SPY, I'll then drill down and see, what is looking pretty good. And so obviously BABA is one of the biggest holdings for EEM. Talking about drilling down as a swing trader, I'm generally charting from the top down, weekly, daily, and I'll go down to my 65-minute. And then based on my 65-minute, you can see with BABA, we are consolidating in a volume shelf right here. And as you can see, a lot of times when I see these volume shelves, they tend to act as launching pads. So when I anchor down, and sometimes it's a little tough to grab that. There we go. I anchor
No,
down to my
I have
previous
a
low.
question, Danny.
Yes.
A lot of people use a standard TF. How do you come up with 65 minutes as a time frame to use?
Love to go back to this. Brian Shannon, it's the 65-minute. He's, again, another proponent of the 65-minute time frame. When you go to a 60-minute, it doesn't divide equally into your day time frame. So you get an unequal amount of candles on the 60-minute within a day. With a 65-minute, you get an equal amount. So each candle has equal representation on the chart versus a 60-minute.
Okay, I learned something today. And I have another interview coming up with Brian. I'm going to ask him for a autographed 8x10 glossy to send to you.
Oh, so fantastic.
You could have his picture next
year. Please tell him I said hello. We do follow each other in chat from time to time on Twitter. So
yeah, that's a pearl, 65 minutes. All right.
Yeah, and so I also like to use the 821 EMAs on the 65-minute. I use it as a crossover signal to get ready. A potential move is coming. You can see on BABA here down at 270, we had an 821 crossover. My entry would have been over the previous high right here. So obviously we get an entry, and obviously we're moving back up. And so, that's what I do. I don't really, for my swing trades, I don't really go lower than the 65. The 65-minute time frame is really my trigger time frame for an entry. And so you could see on BABA here, I'm looking at 310 as my entry. You could see when we ran up, we had a flat top here, and we had some false breakouts. So I'm just looking for that true breakout like we had here. I also use Fibonacci extensions. So from a previous swing high here to swing low here, my 1618 is always going to be my target. So I did take this 310 breakout trade last week and sold into the 1618, or excuse me, earlier this week. And then now I'm just waiting again. We did have a false breakout, BABA following the markets, but we're back in our consolidation zone. We're back in our volume shelf. So as long as we hold this shelf, again, a very clearly defined trade. Over 310 is my entry. My stop loss would be under the 1272 fib extension here at 307. And then, it's about a 3-to-1 risk to reward ratio right back up to that 1618 extension.
Does the gap down mean anything to you? Because, I know a lot of people that haven't traded for a long time, especially FX traders, really aren't familiar with different type of gaps. Most traders think every gap has to be filled, which is a fallacy.
No, but in fact, this type of setup I actually like. I like these gap down island reversals going back to Bulkowski. So you had that gap down, you had a nice rounded bottom right at support.
Yeah, it's not an island because it didn't gap up. So correct. To truly have an island, you needed a gap on the left side of the gap on the right side.
I'll say that one more time. Say that one more time.
To really have an island, you needed it to gap up first before it gapped down.
I see. Gotcha.
I mean, that's classic Edwards and McGee, but
gotcha. But I can see very similar types of movements here. You see it had a slight gap down here, rounded bottom, came back up. And this is what I like to play, these gap down, rounded bottom plays. Yeah. They tend to work out pretty well. Again,
the important gap was all the way back in October. That was a breakaway gap.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that obviously sent us off. And that also gave me right after my EMA crossover here. So my entry would have been here, and I would have rode the wave all the way up to right about here when we have this cross under. I have a slightly better way to exit these trades. It's more of a 5 under the 8. So I would have gotten out here, but if you would have measured that trade, it's a pretty decent trade, you know, over the course of let's look, 16 days, it's a 12% trade. So not too bad.
You know, you answered my question. You know, everyone has weaknesses. Mine is
Yes.
Holding till targets. So
Right.
you use these moving averages. You'll stay with the trade until you get across once it is moving in your direction.
Either that, or sometimes my early signal to get out is if price runs too high off my 20 simple moving average on the daily. If
Yeah.
I get a move like this here, where the, you know, let's say it's, you know, this gap or this run up here is almost 11% over my 20 simple moving average, I'll look at this for a potential exit. Something that
Are you
that
all
I'm,
in, all out, Danny, or do you piece in, piece out?
it depends on the stock. It depends on the movement. It depends on what my target is,
Okay.
and depends on the time frame that I'm holding. If it's a shorter term trade, I'm all in. If it is in my style of trading, if it's a swing trade that I'm looking to hold for a bit, I may compound over key resistance levels. So it really will depend on my outlook, and especially now. I'm taking less risk, so I'm probably not all in. Maybe I'll take a 25% of my max position on an entry, and then take it from there.
Okay. Raj is asking for a chart on Reliance. He says it's in your portfolio.
Reliance, what's the ticker?
I don't know.
I'm not familiar with that.
Okay, he's not familiar with that, Raj. What's the symbol? You
Happy
know
to
what?
look it
If you're
up,
not
though.
familiar with it, forget it. It's okay.
You know, for me, I'm not a fundamentals trader, so I can look
Yeah.
at any chart and dissect it, you know, within a minute.
Yeah.
So if he wants to give me the ticker, I'm happy to take a quick
Do you
look at it.
ever cover up the title of the chart so you don't have a bias?
That's
You
interesting.
ever
No,
try
I've
that?
never done that. I've never
Okay,
done that.
I tell people to do that. You know, some people have bias to like only want to be long gold or only
Right.
want to be short S&Ps, and if you cover up the title and just look at the candles, you'd be amazed how
That's
their
interesting. I'll
view can
definitely
change.
do that.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
actually have a
yeah,
rule that I follow. I never marry stocks.
yeah,
I only date them. Sometimes we go steady for a little while,
never
but I have no
engaged.
problem breaking it up.
Okay, you are really, a misogynist in the market. Anyway, so Brian, why don't you take this time to? I know you have a business model where you mentor people and teach them. I went to one of your websites, so maybe you want to tell our audience today and those that will see the video the best way to get a hold of you and follow you and
Sure.
contact you.
Sure. Well, obviously on Twitter, at the pup of Wall Street. That's always the best way to get to me. I do have a trading room. We have about 275 members, where we're more of a teaching platform. We do give signals for day trades, scalps, and swing trades. I obviously run the swing trade portion of the room. But we're more of an education forward platform. It's Our Trading Edge. The website is ourtradingedge.com. And basically, we're an education forward platform. So we'll have trainings Tuesdays and Thursdays. Actually, today is my day to do my training from 4:15 to 5:15. It's always an hour-long class. I'll generally have a topic that I'll review. We'll review charts and open it up to the floor to questions. And then outside of that, through my journey, I've come across a lot of traders that had the very same issues I had in my trading journey. And being a business owner and an educator in my field, I thought it would be great to kind of give back a little bit of the knowledge that I've garnered over the last couple of years. And so I opened it up to my Twitter followers, and I said, listen, if there is anybody out there that needs help that wants somebody that they can lean on when they have questions about charts, about trading psychology, about anything market related or anything not market related, I'm here. And so it's been actually a very interesting journey. I've been doing it for about 3 or 4 months now, and I've actually discovered a lot about myself as a trader through this process. So it's been cathartic in that sense. But also very beneficial to meet other traders, to help them along in their journey. Because I think, like you said, trading, it's a lonely journey, and doing it by yourself, you're only going to get so far unless you have somebody there to help guide you and answer questions along the way. And so it's been really a wonderful journey for me, not only on the trading side, but also on the mentoring side.
I'm lonely. I'm Mr. Lonely. I've got nobody to call on the phone. So
and it's
anyway,
amazing, with Zoom here. I mean, you could just, I chat with people all over the world. It's a beautiful thing.
You know what happens to people that survive 25 minutes with me, Danny?
What's that?
Any idea? You've become, like it or not, my trading warrior brother.
Good. I love it.
Huh? Okay,
we
bro?
can never have too many of those.
And and I wish you continued success and in your journey in your own account and helping others, and that you and your loved ones remain untouched during this wave that we have going on here in the U.S. And was great meeting you. I
Same
appreciate
here,
your
and
time.
I wish you and yours the very best as well.
Okay, everyone, Danny Naz at the Pup on Wall Street. And I tell you what, I think this guy is housebroken. All right.
I hope so.
You like that one, man?
I hope so. I love it. That's right up my alley.
The Pup on Wall Street is housebroken. So you could, invite him into your house, into your webinars. He's okay now. So,
but I do like good food. So, like I said, I live in Brooklyn, so I'm used to getting that good puppy chow.
It was great meeting you, Danny.
Same here, Jill. Take care.
All right,
Pleasure.
buddy. Thank you.
Thank
All right,
you.
everyone. That's a wrap for our session today. And we'll see everyone for TGIF. Remember, don't just count your pips, count your blessings. Adios. You're welcome, Monica, Raj, Anise, Tom. You're very welcome. Yeah, we like to have some fun in here too, right? I'm so Chicago. I miss home, good food and inviting. Okay, sayonara. I do miss Chicago. I would love an Italian beef sandwich if you guys could mail one to me from Chicago.
And I'll see how about a deep dish from Lou Malnati's?
Oh, okay. Stop it. It's only 6:30 here on the left coast, so
it's never too early for pizza.
All right, Danny. Thank you, buddy.
Take care, bud.
All right, see everyone. Adios.